Okay, folks, I'm at the point now to where I need to start buffing this out with some buffing compound and follow it up with some cleaner wax. You never want to just buff a finish and not follow it up with some kind of sealer wax or at the bare minimum some kind of guitar polish or something on the guitar. I mean, you need to have something to seal it in and protect it, because even though your buffing compound it reduces down to a semi polish, it's still got some abrasives to it. Even with the stuff I use, which is, in my opinion, and I haven't found anything better yet for doing this both by hand and with a buffing wheel. You can put these little buffing pads. I say buffing wheel, buffing pad on a drill and do it that way. Which that's normally the way I would do this, but it makes a mess. This slings the stuff everywhere. And I've got a buffing wheel mounted out in my garage that I can actually, with a fine finish compound loaded onto the buffs already. But I usually don't. I usually I usually try to do this by hand if I can, because machinery, when you start buffing with machinery, it is super, super easy to burn through that finish. And if you think about it, it makes sense. I'm going to zoom you guys in here in a second and show you where we're at with this blending process on the side of this fretboard. You've already cut through at this point so many little micro layers of that finish to get it to where it's blended. Now your job is to do the final blending by polishing. If you go with a rotary wheel on a drill, or even my buffing wheel's slow speed. It's made for buffing. It's not a like a 3,500 RPM quarter horse electric motor. It's like a 750-ish RPM motor. It turns super slow compared to your normal grinding bench grinder type motors. And some folks will use those, but I'll tell you my opinion on it. I don't care. I think it's dangerous. I think you're going to end up working yourself to death doing it that way. I think you need to buy a proper buffing wheel if you're going to do that. And I do that. I know I'm on a soapbox here, but like I said, I got a lot to say about this. This is knowledge that I've picked up from auto body guys and guitar technicians over the last 20 years. So they've done it. I've done it. I've gotten too aggressive and tried to work too fast, and sometimes it's just better to do it by hand. That being said, I bought a product a while back. It was Eternashine. I still use this stuff off and on. There's two different grades of grit here. I think the number one's the really aggressive and number two's not so aggressive. And at times I'll use that if it's just one spot, one little tiny little spot, and it works really good for nicks and stuff like that. This Meguiar's Ultimate Compound. I have went through so many Meguiar's products through the years trying this Turtle Wax. I mean, it's silly as it sounds. This is automotive grade finish on this guitar, so why wouldn't you use an automotive grade, buffing compound and polish? It makes sense. I know a lot of guys that use Meguiar stuff. The Scratch X, it's got its own purpose. I use this exclusively for fixing pick guards. And that's the step one, and I follow that up with this, and then this up with wax. So it's not just cut and dry. The idea is to try to find a product that's just a one-stop fix for everything you do in your shop, and it's just not going to happen. I haven't found anything. If you guys know of something, please enlighten me, because I can't see a workaround for having multiple steps to buffing, on these finishes. So that's what I'm going to use, and I'm going to do it by hand. I can control my pressure and you have to have friction when you're buffing. You have to build up friction to reduce this stuff down to a polish. So that's the whole idea. So what I do is I use these little microfiber cloths. I've got a white one and an orange one laid out. The white one's going to be what I use to remove this stuff after it's reduced down. And I've shook it up already. And the big problem that I had a guy tell me one time, what he, in his opinion, the biggest mistake that people make is using too much of this stuff in one little area. And the more that I've done this, I have to agree with him. I think there's something to that. So I work it in here like that, just a little dab, And I'm gonna get you guys in here on the action as we go with this. So we can do here. Now you guys, hopefully you can see where we're at with this. Like, it's blended. This is all the way down through here. It looks really nice and blended. And now the idea is just to polish it and make it even. Buff it out and make it even. So it's all about pressure, about friction. So I'm not gonna double this cloth over. I'm actually gonna have my finger directly behind. See that? Directly behind that dad. And I want to get some friction going here. I want it to get hot. Blend it in. And it may take multiple applications of this to get it doing what I want it to do. And that's fine. I'm perfectly fine with that. Focus on a little area at a time. Work your way down. Circular motion. Yeah, it would absolutely reduce quicker with a buffing wheel, or, you know, put it out there on the buffing wheel in the garage, or a drill-based buffer. But I want to be able to see my progress on this, because this is really fine work right here. This is not something that we want to rush. I want to make sure we progress through this slowly and even. It's about being even, really. That's what it really comes down to for me, guys. So now I feel pretty good about that first pass. I'm going to wipe that off. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Jeez, man, look at that shine, guys. Look at that. Smooth as a baby's butt. That looks good. I hope the camera's getting that. That through there is like a mirror. And see, when I follow this up with wax, it'll get even shinier. And see how that reduced down on the rag? I hope maybe the camera's getting that. It's just nothing now. So you go to a new spot. And very small amounts of this stuff go a pretty good ways. That's what I love about this compound. Is it like, I've been using this same bottle for, God, probably 3 years now, I guess. And I'm not exaggerating on that. I bet it's been every bit of 3 years, no lie. And I've used it. Like when I did my Martin project, man, I went crazy with this stuff. And I actually used a drill on that project to blend with. But let me reiterate here, it's all about friction. You have to get it hot. You have to put some pressure on this and really work it by hand. And less is more, you know. The smaller amount that you can use, the better. If you happen to get too much on there, wipe some of it off, you know, like that. And then come back and hit it again. Blend. It's all about the blend. So, you know, I think you guys kind of get the idea now. I'm trying to get right up here next to you so you can see how this stuff reduces down and buffs. This is the buff here. I can physically feel the heat in my fingertip right now. And that's a good thing, because that's what's blending this in. All the way over the edge, rolling that edge. This stuff has abrasives in it, but it's not like super strong abrasives. You know, it's just enough to cut. This is a really light cut compound. This is, you know, buffing compounds come in different grades, just like sandpaper. They have a high, medium, low. There's probably, I know at Harbor Freight, I've seen like 4 different grades of Meguiar's buffing compounds, you know. And look at that. Smooth as a baby's bottom. So that's what I want. All right, that witness edge is gone. It's blended. And I'll keep doing this. I don't want to bore you guys with this. I know I might have kind of drugged this one out a little bit on video, but this is what I use in my shop, in case anybody was wondering. I use Meguiar's Ultimate Compound, and then, you know, put it on with one microfiber, and then wipe it off, make sure it's good and clean with the other microfiber. So that's 2. And then the following step past that is to use the cleaner wax. And I'll have to find it. I've got it put away when we rearranged the shop here. Things kind of got moved about. So in applying wax is the same way. You just apply it, rub, rotary motion with your hand, let it dry, and wipe it off. Miyagi said it best: wax on, wax off. Use a separate applicator for the application and a separate applicator for the removal. So anyhow, that's going to about wrap this up, guys. I think I've kind of made my point here. If you guys have got some questions, feel free, contact me. We can talk. I really do want you guys to throw me some input on what you want to see for tutorials here. All my guitar picking buddies, luthiers, and if there's some things that you would want to see on video, I'll be glad to do that. I've got all the time in the world to do that. This is my passion. So good vibes, people. Take care of each other. Love, peace. Later.